day 4073 of quarantine, and I'm doing okay. I hope y'all are doing okay. I am a little sleep deprived though. Still got my braids in, so that's a good thing.
Hey y'all, it's
Hi guys, homies and homegirls, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be fun, both for me and for you, hopefully, because that's why I make content. Today's video is, as you know by the title, some of the things that are cool and uncool and funny and not so funny about growing up as a multicultural kid. Yay! That was exciting. So first, whoever is new to my channel, hi. It's nice to meet you. It's nice for you to meet me. Oh man, that came out all wrong. I am Brazilian and American. So my mom's Brazilian, my dad's American. And I live in Brazil, but I live in a very international community and I have a lot of family in the States, which means we go to visit kind of consistently. Obviously, growing up being multicultural, you get, well, both cultures. You experience both cultures, and there are definitely very stark comparisons that I'm gonna make, but there are also some things that are so similar that it's actually really funny. I've had a cold for like a long time, and it's not a cold, it's just sinus. If you're born with it, you know what I'm talking about. It's terrible. You can't even breathe without being like... Alright, so the first thing I'm gonna point out about being Brazilian American is that you learn both languages growing up. So I speak fluent English and Portuguese. Eu falo inglês e português, tá? E não é qualquer português, eu falo português de São Paulo. Eu sou de São Paulo, minha filha. Enfim, that's not the point. Which means that the inevitable happened. You grow up thinking in both languages, maybe one more than the other. You end up thinking in both languages, which means that when you speak, sometimes you end up speaking a combination of the languages, which is kind of awkward because then if the person you're talking to doesn't happen to speak one of those languages, they're like, what are you talking about? Honestly, I shouldn't complain about that because some people would really want to be bilingual. They want to learn a second language, and it's very difficult when you're older, when you're like my age. I speak English and Portuguese. I'm conversational in Spanish, and I'm teaching myself French. It is difficult. It is so hard, and I'm almost giving up, but I'm not gonna because I want to speak French. So I understand that it can be difficult to learn a different language, but the inconvenience is still there sometimes. You still get a little confused. That being said, I'm very grateful that my parents invested in me learning both languages growing up because it's definitely something awesome, a bonus, a plus point. Anyways, moving on to the next thing. You experience both cultures with your families. So like my American family, they're very American. We like America. But you know, there's difference in like what we do as a family, how we spend our time playing like board games or card games or just games in general. And I appreciate that. But then on my Brazilian side, you know, we spend time cooking. We like to eat, you know, cooking is something we do as a family and everyone pitches in, helps out, and it's just how we spend our time together. So it's very different, but I appreciate both sides. Both have helped shape me into the Anna that you guys know. So y'all can thank my family for that. Next thing is the music is very, very different here in Brazil and in the States. And it's funny to see you have like equivalencies with the music. Like in the States, a lot of people hate on country, and here a lot of people hate on forró or like sertanejo, which is the equivalent of country in the States. Neither of them are like terrible, they're not that bad. I'm just saying that like both get a lot of shade in their respective countries. Also, there are some genres like in the States that I don't like that much, and then here too there are some that I'm like, yo, why does this kind of music even exist? But I'm not even gonna go too deep into that because some of my homies, some of my people, they like some kind of that music, so I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna shut my mouth and keep going. Which leads me to the next difference is the people. The people are very different in the States and in Brazil. I feel like the people in Brazil, it's not that they're warmer, it's just that they're more comfortable with people they don't really know that well, you know? So like when you greet people here in Brazil, you don't shake hands, like unless it's on a business, very official. Actually, I don't know. I'm not an adult, so I can't say nothing about the business world, the business world. I can only say from what I've lived and experienced. The majority of the time, you greet people with a hug and a kiss on the cheek, which is very normal. Here it's just is how we do. Whereas in the States, you probably wouldn't do that to someone that you don't know very well, that isn't very close to you. I mean, maybe a hug, but that's all. It's just a hug. People do handshakes and all that fancy stuff. It depends on where you go. Like my church, it's very international, so that's the one place I can think of where you don't really know how you're gonna greet people unless you know them really well. You don't know how you're gonna say hi. You're gonna shake hands like that. It's different every Sunday. We never really know. But yeah, and you know, I appreciate both sides. There are sometimes I don't really want to hug or kiss somebody, for which handshakes I appreciate. So both sides are cool. Next, very important point is the food. Fast food, we have like a lot of the same. McDonald's is international. Burger King, we have that here too. Recently we got KFC, so that was nice. But in the States, there's so much more variety that sometimes as an American kid living in Brazil, I'm like, yo, I could go for some Chick-fil-A right now. Oh wait, we don't have any. You get kind of sad sometimes. Here, more than fast food, you have like home-cooked food in small restaurants. Those are very common. I live in a big city here in Brazil. I live in São Paulo. The international aspect of the city means that there's a lot of variety, just not Chick-fil-A. I'm just gonna say it. I wish we had Chick-fil-A and that's it. I would, oh my goodness. If God wants it to happen, he'll make it happen someday. Which leads me to my next point, which is that when you're a multicultural kid living in one of the two countries that you're a part of the culture, you hear people make stereotypes about your other country. So in my case, like living in Brazil, I hear a lot of people make stereotypes about people that live in the States, and then vice versa as well. People in the States, when I go to visit, they're like, yo, people in Brazil, they all like this, and I'm like, no, not really. You hear people say things and you're like taking mental notes and you're like, is this what people really think? You can't really do anything about it, besides tell the person they're wrong, which isn't always the nicest thing to say, so you just kind of gotta ignore it. I've heard my American friends, they'd be like, oh, you guys must go to the beach like every weekend, right? It's hot all year round and you guys all like samba and soccer. You must be so good at soccer. This is what I hear the most. Anna, you must be like so good at soccer. And then I gotta be like, I never played soccer in my life. I'm terrible at sports. I'm sorry. I would disappoint Brazilians who like soccer because I'm really bad at it. I go to the beach maybe 4 times a year in a city, which means that it's just kind of difficult to do that sometimes, and life is very busy. Not all of us like samba, and no, it's not hot all year round. It's hot a good portion of the year, but not all year round. Like for example, right now we're in winter, but it's really hot. I believe that is due to climate change. When I'm here, I hear a lot of people, you know, talking about Americans, which here we call gringos, os gringos, and they're like, oh, you know, Americans can have whatever they want and the houses are all huge. You can go to anywhere you want. There's Walmart, which is true. We don't have Walmart. I wish we had Walmart. They get Walmart, they get Target, they get like Goodwill. We don't have thrift stores like Goodwill here. Thrift stores are stinking expensive here. They're like designer stores, not thrift stores. It's crazy. It's the whole point of the thrift store. I'm rambling. I'm very sorry. And you know, a lot of those things aren't true when you're in the States. You don't necessarily have a big house. You have more space for a big house. The way houses are built are very different. In the States, you might have a couple more like I say this testily. My ears itching. I say this testily because living in the States doesn't automatically give you more opportunities in life. It just means that you have more like college options and stuff than we have here. And we have great colleges here. It's just that being a multicultural kid who would prefer to study in the States, I have more options in the States than I would have here. And that's just personal preference. It's not a given fact, you know? That's another one of the stereotypes that we get a lot. My next very important point is both the weather and the temperature, because they're different things. We use Celsius here and in the rest of the world. And the States uses Fahrenheit, which means that when I'm discussing weather, temperature, or whatever with my friends from the States, I need like a mental converter or a calculator or something to help me talk to them because it is crazy. I'll say like, yo, it was 30 degrees here today. It was so hot. And they're like, what are you talking about? 30 degrees? that's cold. So having to convert that in your head can be kind of difficult sometimes. And then also, you know, when someone maybe you see on their Snapchat, they're like, yo, it's 75 degrees. It's like normal temperature. And you're like, that seems pretty hot. Oh wait, it's in Fahrenheit. Oh, that's why. That's just one of the small things that is very different here and there. And then also the seasons, they're inverted, which means that right now, most of my friends in the States, they in summer, so it's summer vacation. Well, here it's also summer vacation because the school year is the same at the school that I go to. I go to an international school. But it's winter, so it's our winter vacation. And it's all crazy. It's all out of whack. It doesn't even feel like winter. It's really hot. Has been for the last couple days. But when it gets cold, it gets cold. It gets really cold. Like fur coat kind of cold, you know? But I am glad that living in a more tropical climate, we don't get snow, which means we don't get ice. No, we don't get ice like blocking the roads or whatever, so we can still do normal things. We don't have snow days. That's one sad thing. And we don't get to play in the snow unless we go to the States in the winter, which is our summer. But then why would I be missing my summer, my real summer, to go play in the snow? You know what I'm saying? Like, I like summer. I'm a summer person, which means I would pick the heat over the cold any day. And that's just one example of that. So yeah, I had one more point I was gonna talk about. Oh yeah, and that is traffic. When you are a multicultural kid who lives in Brazil and goes to visit the States, driving in the States, feeling those nice, smooth roads, that's like paradise. One of the nicest feelings ever. I don't think I will ever, well, that's a long time actually. I don't think that in the foreseeable future I will be driving in my city in Sao Paulo because it's a mess. It is crazy. Traffic is insane. You could get like robbed or run over by a motorcycle, and I'm not trying to do that anytime soon. So driving here for now is not something I can see myself doing. But in the States, for sure, I'd like to do that, especially because when I graduate and go to college, hopefully I'm going to the States for college, which means that then I can drive, which will be nice. The driving ages are also different in the States and here. Here the driving age is 18. In the States it's 16 or 15 with a permit, so there's that. Like, I'm 16 now, which means I could be driving in the States, but I'm not because I live here. And that's okay because I probably would freak out and not know how to drive and crash the car. Oh, it's probably for the best. I think overall, it's really nice to belong to two cultures and to experience both of them and have them shape you into the person that you're becoming. There are challenges to living in one country and identifying with another sometimes because, you know, you miss the States and you miss the things that are there. You miss your family and your friends that live there too. But I live here and I have family and friends here, and there are things that I would miss about Brazil when I move to the States. They balance each other out, and that's how it's supposed to be because I belong to two cultures, which means that I should want things from both cultures. I hope that made sense. It made sense in my brain, so I hope it made sense to y'all as well. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. If you guys identified with anything, like if you're also American-Brazilian, or if you're multicultural in another sense as well, like if you're like, I don't know, Chinese and Italian, that's a cool combination, or anything like that, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys related to or did not relate to, if you liked it. Yeah, because, well, if you liked it, then like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and we'll call it a day. I have been drinking so much water during this quarantine, but not enough. I need to be drinking way more than I'm drinking water. Now you guys will see me here again soon, hopefully. So yeah, love you guys. Beijo, abraço, meus queridos, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace out. God bless. Bye.
Hey y'all, it's
Yeah.